Well, it's a cold morning. I'm out at Lake Tacoma taking a walk for mostly spiritual reasons, but health reasons too. And I just love getting out in the woods and getting out to the lakes in Missouri. It's always so pretty, regardless of whether it's spring, summer, winter, fall. But I came out here for spiritual reasons, and before I left, I don't do this often, but occasionally I'll just kind of open the Bible and be like, all right, God, show me something, And what he showed me, Benjamin, this way, bud. What he showed me was that I just opened it up and I got to Matthew, I can't remember, where it says, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. And they just dropped what they were doing and they started following him. And as I kind of prayed about that, sorry about that, I gotta show you this view. Look at this, it's so beautiful. So pretty out here. I gotta climb down this little cliff, so bear with me. If I slip, I'll edit it. If there's a cut here, I fell. But he said, I will make you fishers of men. Benjamin, no pole. And I kind of thought about what that looks like. Like, what does that mean? Like, for them, just like, what did that look like for them? Those men that just all of a sudden were like, okay, I'm going to drop what I'm doing. I'm going to follow Jesus, and I'm going to do what he says to do. I think ultimately what it meant was not what we see today. And I believe what we see today, if you were to say, if somebody was to say, I followed that calling as well, I read that and Jesus said, follow me, I'll make you fishers of men, and now I'm a fisher of man. I think what that looks like to most Americans is a couple things. One, it means you get up on a stage of some sort and you talk about the gospel. Sorry, it's real slippery and wet too. Or you go out, even you might go to the streets and minister to people, like some street evangelism kind of thing. Oh, goddamn. Okay, flat again. And I just kind of want to speak to this idea of, okay, so if I become a pastor, an American pastor, and I say, well, I'm going to be fishers of men. And I go to my church and I give a speech one day a week. I have to say, what that resembles to me is, I remember when I was a kid, we were in Oregon, and there was this gas station off the side of the road out in the middle of nowhere near Timber, Oregon. And there was this pond that was not really a pond. It was more like a round swimming pool, like a round cement pond. And they stocked it full of fish, and for like $20 or $5 or whatever it was, you could just fish, and you were guaranteed to catch like 3 fish every couple minutes, kind of thing. There's all these little kids with poles, like they're not even really casting, it's just a pole with a line and a worm and a bobber. And I just feel like that's how people are fishing today. They're not going to the treacherous waters, so to say. I just don't think it looks like now, like people when they say, well, I'm a fisher of men. Like when Jesus said, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And they immediately dropped what they were doing and started following him. What that meant, Benjamin, no pull, was that they picked up their cross and followed him. And that's very different than just saying, well, I'm a fisher of men. Because to Jesus, being a fisher of men, advancing the kingdom of heaven on earth as it is in heaven, and picking up his cross to redeem all of mankind, you know what that means to me is something very different than I put on a suit and I went and got up on a stage and I gave a really good sermon. And maybe it spoke to the hearts of some people. But they're already in your pond, like those people are already there. You're not actually going out to treacherous waters. And, and that's very different in churches in Africa and Haiti and China. It's very different. Being fishers of men there, meaning you're deep sea diving for shark with your bare hands while you jump in the water after them, kind of thing. Like, that's a very different type of fishing. Going into jails. Oh, speaking of, on a side note, Standing in the Gap Ministry, I'm going to put the link below there. They are preparing Christmas packages for inmates in Missouri and in Kenya. I will be delivering some of those packages personally. So I'm going to put the link. Donate to that. It's a great thing to give. If you're thinking, what are you going to do for Christmas? This is a great one. So, all right. Anyhow, that link is well. But I believe that, going into the treacherous waters, doing the hard thing, or at least getting in a boat and going out in the deep part of the calm waters, it's too easy to sit there and put on a suit and say, I am a fisher of men. I pull up in my guaranteed parking spot and I go into my giant building where I have assistants and secretaries and I just give a speech one day a week and I have office hours on Wednesdays, and like, that is not, Benjamin, here. Oh, we're gonna turn around. That is not what that is. Just gonna stop here real quick. I'm gonna turn this. Here, look how beautiful that is. Those outcroppings are cool. Every time I walk by here, I think those are neat. Maybe I'll film the Enoch series there sometime. All right, let's keep going. I just think we really need to understand what it is Jesus said when he said, "Follow me. I'll make you fishers of men." And what it is we as the remnant believe that to be. And what I mean by the remnant is, okay, when all the other Israelites were in captivity or just living in the wilderness or just fleeing or whatever, after the captivity of Babylon, there was a small percentage of people who were tasked by prophets to build the wall, or rebuild the wall around Israel, or Jerusalem. And it was hard and it was dangerous. And they literally built with one hand and fought with the other, with a sword, is what the Bible says, as they built that wall, obediently following the instructions of God. And I just don't think, Benjamin, here, I think a lot of pastors in America are following the calling of God because it is a comfortable, sometimes glorious calling. Isn't that beautiful? Come on, buddy. That it's, it's comfortable. You want to make sure you get the right salary, and, you want to work up the ranks in your church and be the head pastor someday, or maybe you are the head pastor. That's very different, and it's a different calling, and that's almost like if the Israelites were like, well, I'd do it if, well, how much does it pay, to build this wall, and, who's the boss? Am I the boss of this wall? Do I get to make sure I get to stand up like a rooster and crow and people can hear me? If I get that, do I get an assistant? Do I get a parking space if I build this wall? Do I get that stuff? If not, no, I'm not going to build this wall. That's very different. And I think that's what's really so compelling to me specifically about this, is that it's just, follow me, I will make you fishers of men. What does that really mean? When he said that, when Jesus spoke those words and they said, okay, they dropped what they were doing and they followed him? Like, what does that mean? It's not the same. And I think if you say, well, I am a fisher of men, you have to stop and think, well, what if I was that guy? And I literally followed Jesus. What would that look like if I was following Jesus literally like that? It looked very different. You wouldn't be stuck in a building. I do know that. That I know.